I see all good people now. Mm. Oftentimes when I awake in the morning, I rummage around, make a cup of coffee, and sit down and begin my practice. And just as often, I'm asking myself, what is the most important thing one can do? Because it's a way of eliciting or highlighting the importance of meditation, because otherwise maybe we get caught up in other things. You know, we go on the internet, we look at the news, we maybe finish up a project we began or start something new. But when one asks this question, what is the most important thing I can do this morning, this beginning of my day? And my answer is to come to one's senses, to awaken in such a way that one is thinking about what one is thinking. Why am I thinking in this way? What am I thinking in the first place? So you have two questions already from Thomas Wilson, the famous 1560 rhetorician who enunciated these 6 questions to ask about any subject, to have a thorough understanding of it. And you could continue with all of them and define what it means to awaken in the first place even more. They may or may not have a lot of relevance of like where or when. When is right now. Where is right here. So, I mean, yes, that's more facts and more data points to think about, to consider, but who is doing the thinking and why, what, how, are a little more relevant. And so, this is what I mean when I wake up. What is the most important thing that Zoran can do, or someone who wants to practice and have a aspiration of self-improvement, is to realize this, coming to one's senses, to recognize what we're thinking, not our dreams that we were thinking possibly while we were slumbering, but the self that is going to go through these 24 hours, this 86,400 moments, with a better sense of purpose, of direction. Because we've taken the time, we've made the time, we've invested our time to have a clearer idea. This is, in a simple way, what we're doing. One may or may not need, after having initiated and begun a ritual, as one can consider this, mindful meditation, need to go through all of the different beginning attributes of doing this. It may come to a point in one's practice where you just naturally begin to dive into and fathom the depths of one's own being. You assume a posture of comfort. You find yourself focused on your physicality. You begin to explore the depths of one's being easily and in a positive direction. It is one's own evolution in one's own behavior, in one's own way of communicating with oneself, initiating, progressing, and completing actions, responses. When we get right down to it, and we have begun our practices, meaning the time we spend in realizing whom and what we are, bundles of miracles, we come to a place that is open, a place where we are ready to proceed but maybe unsure. And it is where a sacred saying, phrase, can be very valuable for one's own edification, for one's use as a tool to enhance what one is doing. Because again, we know we are oscillating like on a meter bar, up and down, or a speedometer, for instance, or a RPM gauge, revolutions per minute gauge in our cars. We go up and we go down and we go all around and we go back and forth. Perhaps in today's practice, let's say, we're not so sure of what we're doing, or we feel a sense of melancholy, emptiness, or negativity around or even enveloping us like a fog. And yet, in a moment or an instant, we can change this by remembering one sacred saying. And your sacred saying can be my sacred saying. My sacred saying can be yours. We are here now, bundles of miracles. It is a glimmer of positivity, humbled by the immensity of creation. Again, a glimmer, and thankful for our being. Again, these three distinct phrases can take the form of helping one transform themselves, oneself, one's reasoning into a more illuminated way. And isn't this what we want? Self-illumination, revelation, realization. It is this simple to have, to transform, to act as a catalyst. It is the same thing as having before you a box that is put together with screws, and you want to unscrew this lid to open the box, but you aren't aware of what a screwdriver is, so you don't have the tool. And the little screws are small, and with your fingernail you can't unwind them out of the box because they're flush with the lid. And so you sit and you look at this, and perhaps it is you and your consciousness instead of your fingers and a box. And so you can be caught up in everything but have no success because you don't have the tools. It is this that I'm alluding to. A sacred saying, a tool as part of one's practice, can be that tool that opens up one's own heart, one's own soul. So please, until you have something better for yourself, something that suits your uniqueness, and it may be this, that's okay. Or it may not be, and that's okay. And that's why I'm saying be flexible and adaptable. Be kind. Be understanding. And create something subject to your whim and change. Something that helps you. Be positive and hopeful, helpful, kind, widening one's perspective, helping one's opening of their sensitivities. This is important. This is a very valuable tool. It is a beginner. And again, there's nothing wrong with beginning, because we all have to begin. To think of a practice as being an exercise in following one's physicality, one's breathing, one's pulse, one's heat, one's vibration, one's shimmering. This is the beginning. This is the soothing and the calming, and also the beginning of one's own self-revelation of whom one is, which is, if you are from this world, most likely a Homo sapien, and having similar characteristics of all Homo sapiens. One's anatomy, the way we have learned to think, interact, then we have a great deal in common. But it is in one's thinking where one excels. It is in being more aware of these questions that we began with: what, when, and where. The three long W's. Who and why, the two short W's. And the one H. How, where, when, what, who, why, and how. Asking these of one's inquiry, whatever it is, whatever of these six pertain, to help initiate a line of direction of questions and sought after answers, is where one wins the game. Because when the answers are found, and the answers are in plain view, they are not only under your skin, but your skin itself, your limbs, your five senses, as we call them. The majesty, the bundle of miracles we are, is in plain view. The depth of our existence is chronologically millions of years old. It is in our DNA. When one makes this effort, it becomes abundantly clear as to the truth of what we're saying. We are here now. We're here. Bundles of miracles. We are humbled. Here, there's a stretch of what we're saying. Are you humbled before everything we're speaking of? Are you in awe? Are you feeling a sense of reverence for what's happened upon this world, our planet Earth? Are you amazed at evolution? If you are, then you're humbled like me. And I believe one should be. And with practice will be, if you're not already. And thankful. Again, it's the same thing. It's an understanding. It's a realization. These are not new concepts, by the way. 100 years ago, there was some guru in India who was saying the same thing. Who am I? Is one of his famous questions. It's a good thing to know. To be self-realized, one has to have at least an inkling of who one is. So, some food for thought on this beautiful Sunday. Today is my birthday, by the way. I'm 76 years old. And the funny thing about being this old of having this many decades of experience is inside of oneself. We can be any age at all. There are two types of age. There is a chronological, physical age. And we see that everywhere. We see the young in the middle of one's life and the older towards the end of one's life, differences in physicality. And yet in our minds, our spirits, they can be as young as one imagines they can be. It's a dichotomy. It's a conundrum, in a sense. The music continues for another minute. Please linger upon one's own life. Consider one's direction. Invest time, moments of your day in self-improvement, in creating opportunities and potentials for a greater sense of harmony and grace, a greater awareness, recognition of our place in the universe. Namaste.